Joining us, I'm Lois Tomei.
I'm Chris Safadi. A sobering number to start at 5:30. The death toll from Hurricane Ian now stands at 114, more than any other hurricane since 1935.
And 55 of those victims died in Lee County. Tonight the question is, did Lee County wait too long to make the call to evacuate?
Wake News investigative reporter Peter Fleischer joins us live from the memorial site in downtown Fort Myers. Peter, the county called for evacuations the day right before Ian.
Southwest Florida was already feeling the effects of Hurricane Ian by the time the county leaders made that call to evacuate. The call came too late for every resident in Zone A to be able to leave the area safely. It has families wondering if some of these tragic losses suffered during Hurricane Ian could have been prevented.
Whether it's from above or on the ground, Ian's devastation is unmistakable. The salty surge, boats tossed like toys, homes ripped from their foundations, communities destroyed, and lives lost to Ian's wrath. The stories are heartbreaking and perhaps never had to happen.
They had so much to offer life. And it's sad that now that they're gone.
Robert and Becky had been married more than 40 years and lived on Fort Myers Beach. Becky's niece, Grace Nolan, describes their love as powerful.
It was a match made in heaven, okay? And all they had to do was just look at one another, and it just glowed with happiness.
Living on the beach for nearly 20 years, Robert, 80, and Becky, 79, were in Zone A. They should have been out early. Nolan says they would have evacuated if they'd had more time and information.
So I feel that they were greatly failed. With the magnitude of that hurricane, they should have been out of there.
The worst part of the storm, and then the direction in which it is heading towards the...
We knew days out that Ian had its eye on the Sunshine State, the Gulf Coast, and parts of Southwest Florida. At 10:30 Monday morning, Lee County declared a state of local emergency. The county manager addressed the storm in a 3 o'clock press conference.
A couple days ago, Fort Myers, Lee County was right in the very center of the cone of uncertainty, and that's really the best place to be. 3 or 4 days out, because the storm will never, ever behave that way. So,
really? Never? While the Lee County press conference was taking place, Charlotte County ordered evacuations for Zone A. A couple of hours later, a hurricane watch was put in place from Bonita Beach to Inglewood. At 6:07 Monday night, Lee Commissioner Kevin Ruane posted on Facebook, quote, "Please pay attention to Facebook at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning for a special announcement regarding Hurricane Ian Zone A." 13 hours later, that's when county leaders called for mandatory evacuations in Zone A and parts of B. County Manager Roger DeJarlais went back in front of the microphone.
The evacuation this morning is a mandatory evacuation order, and that is as mandatory as can be. We will not be going house to house and forcing people to leave, but we are stressing the importance of people getting out of harm's way based on the surge models.
But why did Ruane tease the evacuation order 13 hours in advance?
Tomorrow, did you kind of consider issuing this order before? What stopped you and what kind of changed overnight?
We did consider calling for evacuation yesterday, but given the uncertainty of the path, the timing just wasn't right.
A study by the Southwest Florida Regional Planning Council shows it would take 36 hours to evacuate all of Zone A. The county's evacuation orders did not allow for enough time. If the warning had come when Ruane posted to Watch Facebook on Tuesday morning, every person living in Zone A would have had time to leave safely. Did the county know the order was coming and choose not to inform the community?
And they could have gotten all of those people, even if it was door to door. It's beyond belief. Evacuate.
By 1:45 on Tuesday, about 25 hours before Ian would make landfall, the county expanded its mandatory evacuations to include some inland areas. Lee County's emergency management plan sheds some light on the process. Our partners at the Florida Center for Government Accountability and reporter Patricia Bournes uncovered it emphasizes efficiency and cost rather than caution. To avoid what the plan refers to as over-evacuation in 2010, the county switched from a just-in-case protocol, which always assumes a hurricane one category higher than forecasted, to a just-in-time method, an as-needed approach based on wind and surge forecasts. Try explaining that to the families of victims.
Well, of course, you know, it upsets me. Their loss, the loss of their lives, they felt that they were going to be okay.
At this point, authorities have released the names of 26 victims in Lee County. 20 of the 26 lived in Zone A, and the average age of the victims is 76 years old. These were the oldest, most vulnerable Floridians. They should have been out first. When asked about how the county calculated the evacuation, Commissioner Cecil Pendergrass said they relied on data.
You know, the cone 72 hours before the storm, we still were not in the cone. Lee County wasn't.
But even he seemed confused by the timeline. Remember, the mandatory evacuations all happened Tuesday.
We asked them, mandatory A was one day, the next day B was effective, which is more inland. When people saw B being evacuated, mandatory evacuation, the people in A, now looking back, Monday morning quarterbacking, but they should look forward and say, you know what, I need to go. If the people behind me is being told to leave, why am I still sitting here front and center? So they didn't leave. I respect their choices, but I'm sure a lot of them regret it now.
But Becky and Robert aren't here to feel that regret. I've reached out to the county manager, and Commissioners Pendergrass and Ruane as well. So far, we've only heard back from Commissioner Pendergrass's office. He says that he's unavailable to speak until next week. Now, if you're looking for a more detailed timeline from our partners at the Florida Center for Government Accountability, or you'd like to learn more about the just-in-time protocol that is used here in Lee County, you can go to our website. Click this story on winknews.com. Reporting live in Fort Myers, Peter Fleischer, Wink News.